Tower Defense Simulator has over 50 towers, over 30 of which are usable in PvP mode. This is because you're not allowed to use any exclusive event towers. And it's a pretty well known fact that a lot of towers have their stats changed specifically for PvP mode. And this can lead to some pretty unexpected outcomes, like starter towers becoming some of the best towers available for PvP mode. So in today's video, I'm going to be using every single tower inside of PvP mode and putting them on a tier list to determine which ones are the best. In fact, let me do this already right now for you. Assassin goes straight into S tier. This tower is insanely good for PvP mode. Unfortunately, this video was recorded before the Assassin was released, but you get the gist. This video contains over 5 hours of footage, and it's one of the longest that I've put out onto this channel, so if you enjoy stuff like this, like, subscribe, make sure to become a channel member, and join the Discord too. I will be playing with you guys from time to time. And is that everything? Oh yeah, buy my Roblox hat, and okay, you're probably tired of this. Let's begin. In our first game, we're going to be testing the first 4. Now, the plan was to go play with some channel members here, except none of them responded. So please become a channel member if you want to be in videos like this, or even simply join the Discord server, which will be in the description. Now, our first tower here is the Scout. This tower has been greatly buffed for PvP mode. I mean, look at this. Our first level here does 3 damage a shot, and with just 1 upgrade, we now do 4 damage a shot, 1 shot these normals. That being said, let me start sending enemies. This is the best way to play PvP mode. Our teammate over here is also using Paintballer, which we will get to. I don't know why I said teammate, he's our enemy. That being said, just 2 of these level 1 scouts are almost holding all of this stuff at bay. Level 2, however, is really gets insane. 8 damage a shot, hidden detection, yet we are still struggling. That's because although Scout is really good at defending, you know, just the basic enemies that come out, that are sent out by the game, the ones that players send out, well, they just build up a horde that is a little bit tough to defend. That being said, let's test out Sniper over here. Now, Sniper has a pretty fantastic range. It does 8 damage a shot. That makes it pretty dang strong, but it is on the expensive side, costing $500. Now, comparing our Scout to our Sniper, honestly, I think you'd want to choose Scout over Sniper in most cases. I mean, well, let's give Sniper some upgrades here, and oh my god, 20 damage a shot at level 2. I still don't see it being worth it because this thing, it just doesn't fire fast enough. The thing about PvP mode is just, there's hordes. That's all that there really is to this mode. So if you have these towers that can one-shot enemies because they deal, you know, 8 damage a shot, that is enough to one-shot these. That'll just give you better results than towers that need a 2-shot or that do a lot of damage but fire slower. That being said, are we doing better than our opponent here? I think we are. That's just because he stopped sending. Now, obviously, let's keep looking at these levels. Level 3 Scout here, honestly, I don't think that's worth it. Like, it gets stronger, but I believe you're just better off getting more level 2 Scouts because these guys, they only cost $1,000, yet their DPS is like, it's greater than 10. So their cost efficiency, the way that works in TDS is you just divide their cost by their DPS. And for this Scout, I mean, you're getting an incredible deal because you could just keep placing these level 2 Scouts and just look at all of this DPS that we're able to deal. Like, no crowd control, and we're able to hold back hordes. I'm going to stick to that, and let's upgrade to level 3 here, see what we're working with. This cost efficiency is still really good for level 3, but I don't think it's as good as level 2. So this wave is scary, has a lot of hordes that come out, but it's no issue for Scouts, surprisingly enough. Let's get our max level double handgun Scout. 16 damage a shot every 0.3. This again is slightly less cost efficient than level 2 and maybe level 3. I can't exactly do the math in my head, but this is about the max power you're getting out of it, which is some really solid DPS. But now let's see Sniper here. So this upgrade brings our damage up to 20 and gives us hidden detection. That's fairly useful. Now, because I don't want to die, I'm also going to get down a demo man, start setting it on random, just because hordes are being an issue for me. And it seems to be doing the trick. I mean, let's see what our opponent is dealing with here. It's the same exact stuff. That being said, it's a bit expensive here. This upgrade, it has lead detection, but that's really pointless because there's no leads in PvP. But now look at how fast the Sniper is shooting, which actually is pretty impressive. Looking at our cost efficiency, I mean, it's a lot worse than Scout. The only reason you'd want it is because of the full map range. The thing is, it's better if you can kill the enemies faster. That way you don't give enough time for enemies like the Necromancer to spawn all their stuff. So I do still think Scout is better. Now the max level here just doubles our damage and gives it even more range, which it doesn't need. So I would honestly call that an L upgrade. I honestly think we're ready to put our first tower, the Sniper here, into F tier. I'm sorry I have to do it. I just don't see Sniper as being that useful of a tower. Now, I might change the ranking here if we get to some of the later towers and they're just abysmal and like way worse than Sniper. Might have to bump this guy up. But from what I'm seeing, Scout is just better in every way. That being said, I'm probably going to lose here because I am using these starter towers. And we didn't really get a chance to review Paintballer, so let's get this guy down. And let's get a Demo Man down in the same spot and see what it's capable of doing. Now, the amount we've spent on Demo Man is 2.7k, 3k for Paintballer, so about the same amount. So, depending on which one does better here, we'll see which tower is more worth it. Now, the Demo Man does come with more range. It has 15 damage shot, Paintballer does 12. The Paintballer does shoot faster, so, I mean, these are extremely similar towers. And by the looks of it, I think Demo Man is slightly pulling ahead, even though it's cheaper. Although, no, they're kind of keeping up. I think both of these towers have to just go in the C tier. I mean, they're not bad. Any form of crowd control is useful, but they're just not good either. I think Demo Man is probably going to be slightly better, and the reason I say this is because, again, we paid a cheaper price for it, and you just get slightly more out of it. But if you need hidden detection, then I guess go for Paintballer, because Demo Man does not have it. Now that we have so much money, let's actually max this Paintballer here and max this Demo Man. And Demo Man does 35 damage every 1 second. This guy does 18 damage every 0.6. So they're actually really close in power, but again, Demo Man has more range. I think it has a bigger explosion radius. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here. The thing is, though, now Paintballer's a lot cheaper than Demo Man. And Demo Man's caught up now, so... yeah, Demo Man's just slightly ahead. As for Scout, I'm going to have to actually put it in B tier. I'm going to have to put it above everything else simply for the fact that in the very early game, the way it just one-shots the stuff and how cost-efficient level 2 is, like, you could just spam it and defend pretty much anything. Like, that deserves some attention. Now, let's see what's done the most damage. It's that Scout right here. This max level Scout for 5.9k has done more damage than Max Paintballer, Max Sniper, which is actually really disappointing for Sniper, Max Demo Man as well, all of that. So I think our plan here is just going to be spam these Max Scouts. These Demo Men back here that I'm selling, they actually did really good damage, 6k. That's like as much as the Scouts next to them. They were costing slightly more though, but their spot was bad. So I'm going to get the Demo Man up front. I'm going to set him on random. And now we're just going to send out these brutes until we overwhelm our enemy. These brutes have 6,000 HP. I don't think he has good single target damage. And after we send all those brutes out, I'm going to send out a line of Necromancers just so while these brutes are tanking all the damage, the Necromancers are going to get a bunch of stuff spawned in. That being said though, he does have a Pyromancer, so I think he might be able to honestly kind of just burn all my skeletons, which isn't going to be great. He did stack his military bases though, which is actually really good. Helps him deal a ton of DPS, and he's going to defend everything now. Here comes Champion Templar, and we've got a full scout defense versus military bases, militants. So let's see who's able to defend this faster. We got this guy down to 17k. He's got his guy down to only 21k. So we're actually dealing more DPS. And here comes the brute spam. And I honestly think scouts might just be able to defend it all. We killed Champion Templar and we're holding back all the brutes while his Champion Templar is still alive. I'm honestly doing better than him, which is insane. And now here's where I think I can mess with him. I'm gonna apply aggro, and it applied it to some garbage. Okay, I did not mean to do that. I'm gonna start sending out brutes now and continuously using air horn to apply aggro to the brutes. That way I'm going to keep his Champion Templar alive a lot longer. That is if I myself can even survive any of this, which I don't think I will be able to, but come on, let me get the aggro pulled off on here. There you go. I used air horn, so now it'll make this aggro. Hopefully his stuff's going to stop attacking whatever is at front. There you go. His militants are not now attacking the brutes at the back, and he's just going to end up losing because nothing's attacking his stuff. So for the first 4 towers, we're going to have Sniper in F tier, Demo Man and Paintballer in C tier, and Scout in B tier. It was actually pretty good. Our next set of towers is Soldier, Hunter, Militant, and Medic. And my opponent is AFK. Now our starter tower is going to be Soldier. This thing I believe is slightly buffed. It is more expensive than Scout though, so let's see if it can do better than Scout. So its burst is a lot higher now, and it just pretty easily dealt with all of that. Now the question is it going to be able to hold up when enemies are being sent on us? I have no idea, because our opponent is using a military base, which has 60 HP at level 0. So a little bit of a sneak peek as to what we're going to deal with later. And now let's look here. Honestly, not that good. We should not be leaking anything, considering that we're not even being sent on. Let's see medic right here. Medic does 3 damage a shot. It actually has 3 DPS for $450, which isn't that good. Now, let's actually upgrade soldier here. This makes it shoot faster, but still kind of disappointing because level 1 scout, or sorry, level 2 scout, it's a little bit more expensive, but it does 8 damage a shot and it does it really fast. So I don't know, I'm not a big fan of soldier here in the early game. That being said, I have no choice but to get another one because I'm starting to struggle. And I'm not even being sent enemies like against me. And the fact that I'm struggling without being sent on just means that, like, I don't know, I'm already looking at putting this guy in C tier. Let's get level 2 here. Now does 2 damage a shot. It also gets hidden detection, but we paid $1,400 for this. And in all honesty, we're not doing the damage that I want to see. That being said, my opponent is doesn't really know how to play PvP because they're not sending any enemies on me, so I'm just gonna win this game like probably really quick. So with 2 level 2s, let's see what we do to this boss. Yeah, that is not much. Like, we paid basically $3,000 for this. I finally got a cowboy, which, by the way, I'm gonna have to say I can probably rank it without even having to use it, because cowboy, well, it empties the chamber and reloads the gun to make money. But you see, it's not doing that. It's not making any money whatsoever because enemies that get sent on you, they don't count towards the reload counter. So basically, the one reason you'd want to use cowboy is just completely useless in PvP. So I think that undeniably, automatically will put cowboy into D tier. And the only reason it's not in F is because I still think cost efficiency wise, it's okay, and you'll still get money out of it. It will just be really infrequent. That being said, I even have a level 3 soldier over here, and I'm not steamrolling like the normal enemies. I am keeping soldier in C tier. Medic, the thing about medic is you won't be seeing a use for. Oh my god, soldier's bad. Scouts were handling this. Yeah, this is just not it. Being said, it won't matter because I'm about to win the game in 3, 2, 1, and there it is. Now we can remove soldier and medic. Soldier's going in C tier, by the way. Medic, I'm gonna have to put in B, and the only reason I do this is because Champion Templar stuns a lot. Like, as we saw from my game before, he was stunning every couple of seconds, so medic would actually serve a really good purpose in the late game. But early on, this would be like D tier, honestly. You don't really want to use it. That being said, we didn't get to test Militant or Hunter, so, you know, I'm gonna keep those in my loadout, and I'm also gonna bring Ace and Crook Boss. Now, since I'm using Ace, I want one of these circle maps. Let's see what our opponent is bringing. Decent stuff. Now, automatically, since we're on a circle map and we're using Ace, that's just gonna immediately like bring it up the tiers. I think that'll make it A tier, honestly, for this map. Like, without even having seen it perform, I'm already going to put it in A tier, because not only does it absolutely destroy, like, I genuinely don't think I'll need to do anything, but it's basically going to be constantly shooting, which means I'm not going to have to rely on the figure 8 to get any additional DPS out of it. It'll just be 2 or 3 shotting these enemies. Now, if you upgrade it once, I don't think it's worth it, because it's still going to take 2 shots to kill normals. It will take 2 instead of 3 for speedies. So if you're struggling with speedies, then do that, I guess. But I think we also got another opponent who doesn't really know what they're doing, because I'm, again, not getting any enemies sent on me. That being said, let's actually upgrade our Ace here. Bombs are going to be extremely useful. Like, let's see how much damage this Ace does when it drops the bomb. Like, yeah, that was like 30 damage or something. That is a really solid boost in DPS, and it'll be constantly dropping bombs as it goes around. But the question is, how good is this in a late game? Now, I don't know if we'll ever make it to the late game, because, again, if you don't send enemies, then your money is just going to be so terrible. You have to send enemies for your eco. Now, let's see aerial Ace here. Bombs will do 20 damage. They'll be dropped every 4 seconds. I think I want to get this. Let's get aerial Ace. But the one thing we are missing is hidden detection, and that is on the next level, which is kind of expensive. So that would make Ace, honestly, not that reliable of an early game, because you'd need to rely on something else to defend the hiddens for you. Let's also test our single target damage here. That is not that good. It is actually not as good as I thought. I know I was saying I'm gonna put it in A tier, but seeing as how we're struggling to this normal boss, I don't know, it doesn't make me really excited. We paid 2.9k, and this is so much better than 2 soldiers was doing for what was the price, like basically the same price. But yeah, now we can actually afford the hidden detection Ace. We would have actually been in trouble had our opponent been sending hiddens on us, because he could have done it 2 waves ago. But now that I have this, hiddens aren't an issue. Shall we make it quick and painless? Let's activate an energy drink and just send out these quick breakers. Here we go. Goodbye, sir. There is just no way in any universe that he defends everything here, right? What the heck? I lost HP as well? I guess it was those quick breakers. Well, somehow he's staying alive. So, yeah, let's get our Crook boss. Now, with Crook boss, what you want to do is you want to place them all down at around the same time. Because if you do that, all of their goons are going to spawn at about the same time. That way, you'll just have a bigger stack of them. They'll do more damage. If you can't place them all at the same time, then you just want to place them, you know, whenever this one's about to spawn a goon, that's when you'd place, you know, the next Crook boss up until you have all of them. That being said, level 0 here, it's decent. But in all honesty, Crook boss is actually kind of insane, because with PvP mode, if you have any decent opponent, they're going to constantly be sending on you. Let's nimble the enemies once again. Like, this guy's so annoying. Like, this is really annoying when you just don't get that good of a teammate. Like, I'm not using most of these towers because I want to get a proper, you know, overview of how good they are. But if my opponent is just going to die on wave 14, then I wouldn't even really get a test of how strong they are. Here's max level Ace, though. And yeah, here goes this guy. Oh, I'm fighting the urge to just say something. It's wasting my time, bro. Just, like, send enemies. It's not that hard. All right, let's swap Ace out for Freezer and hope that this guy knows what he's doing. He's bringing farm. So now, with the lack of Ace Pilot, I'm going to test the Crook boss's early game potential. Now, if you're using Crook boss, you want to wait as long as possible to start your game, because then you just give your Crook boss time to spawn its goon. This guy also placed Ace here. I guess that's fine since it goes around the whole loop. The thing is, he'd want to make it go the other way. So we got a little bit of an Ace versus Crook boss situation here. And Crook boss one-shots everything. So yeah, that is actually pretty useful. Quicks here, 2 shots, but with the single upgrade, it would start one-shotting them. Now, once again, we're getting an opponent who just, like, doesn't know what he's doing. So I guess we'll get a very limited scope of seeing how good this guy is. Now, here comes the goon. This is what makes Crook boss insane. Normally in PvP, you would have, like, an endless, you know, spam of enemies as both teams are sending on each other. But this guy, by not sending on me, he's kind of messing with me a little bit here. He's not letting my goon stack up anywhere. That being said, he's losing on so much money now that, like, oh my god, dude, how am I gonna, like, get to, oh my god, I'm gonna have to, like, play a separate match for each PvP mode, because all it's gonna take to win is just, like, literally sending some quicks, and then, you know, our enemy's gonna lose out on money and just lose the game. I could obviously also do this in ranked, but I don't want my towers getting banned. I also don't want to lose, because these loadouts, these are not good loadouts. Like, this is intended to just test the tower. That being said, Ace Pilot is doing him a pretty fantastic job. But as for Crook boss's rating, as you can see with the unit stacking here, this will only get stronger and stronger, so A tier. Like, it's just really cost efficient. You can get so many good spots with it. The bombs help out a ton because, you know, this is a really horde heavy game mode. And look at this Crook boss performance. It's pretty good. I mean, if he was sending, obviously I'd be forced to place more. But early game Crook boss, I think it might have to be B. It's, like, not that much better than scouts in terms of cost efficient. Like, if I had 3 scouts, level 2, they would cost a pretty similar amount, and they would do a similar amount of damage. So I think that's where it is so far. Now the question is, as for late game, how much better is this going to get? Might have to bump it up to A tier. We're going to see. Now, see, as the timer ticks down here, we're going to place down the rest of our Crook bosses, have all the goons be spawning at around the same time. And by the looks of it, we win right here, because I don't see a single thing that has hidden detection on its side. So, GG's. Let's make it quick and painless. Use the energy drink and send out some nimble hiddens. And there you go. Game 1. Just as easily as that. I didn't even get a proper chance to test Crook boss. This is making me so angry. See, if I had channel members, and of course they would know how to play this game because all my channel members would be goated, then this wouldn't have had to happen. I would have just been able to properly review every tower. But nobody's paying up. Okay, we actually got a pretty strong contender here. So, instead of Crook boss, we are going to go with Shotgunner. So let's begin with our shotgunners right here. I'm going to set it on farthest. Farthest is a great targeting to keep shotgunners shooting in a straight line, and I'm going to immediately start sending. I assume our opponent is going to know how to send enemies, right? No? What is he using? He's using Warden. This guy's level 200 and he's not sending enemies, dude. What the heck? Okay. Quicks. Now, these, we leave them on 1 HP, so not a big deal, but obviously not something ideal. Now, we can upgrade the shotgunner for only $150, but by the looks of it, not as good as just getting more shotgunners, honestly. Now our opponent's already struggling. We'll see if his towers carry him. Now, here come out slows. These are pretty tough, but with 4 shotgunners here, we're able to kill most of them. This guy survives on 2 HP. So, I mean, this is a loopy map. On a loopy map, this is honestly a really good option. Because these go around, so you can just place down a bunch of them. They're just so cheap too. Like at this point, every time I make a little bit of eco, I could just get down another shotgunner. And once you have this much, no amount of hordes can really get by. It's literally $300 for each of these. I think it would be to nobody's surprise that I can already confidently, this early on, say that this is A tier. Now let's look at our single target. Remember, this is intended for crowd control, and we get this boss low. 33 HP, 31. 25. Yeah, we basically almost just kill it with this like straight line of level 0 shotgunners. Let's just get more of them. Also, hidden enemies are about to start being an issue, so let me upgrade this guy, or 2 of them, to level 2. And here come the hidden ones. Let's see if we've got what it takes. Ooh, we don't actually really have what it takes. I don't think 2 is enough. I'm gonna get a 3rd one, and now I think we should be completely fine. So you do need to invest a little bit into, you know, your hidden defense here. 3 of these, that's not cheap. But with that, I mean, honestly, like, what's getting by? I don't think anything's getting by. We just kind of spawn kill everything. Let's look at this side. He's also doing really good. He's using Mortar and Warden, which, you know, we'll get to reviewing those. Now here comes this. Okay, Shotgunner is getting hooked alive. Holy, we are about to tank some HP right here. That is not good. We are low. So let us move on to using Freezer right here. I'm going to get a level 2 Freezer, and it is not working. Holy crap, it is not working at all. These breakers just take way too much to freeze. Once they are frozen, I mean, they stay frozen for a while, but that, I mean, I need Arctic Soldier, please. Can I set this guy on closest or something? Okay, I'm going to set it on closest so that we're freezing them near the shotgunners. And okay, that now it's freezing pretty good. But in all honesty, I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm ready to already rank Freezer, and the reason for that is Freezer's usually really good for stuff like Fallens. Fallens, however, aren't really an issue here. I guess maybe at the higher arenas. And look, like, I just don't see it being that useful. In this arena, that is. I'm still gonna have to give it a B tier because I know that Freezer can be insanely good if used correctly. But then again, there's stuff like this that just, like, makes your Freezer useless. So anyways, is it time to add some DPS with our first Militant here? Let's do it. 2 damage a shot, 0.2. That's 10 DPS for 1,600. So level 0 is not it. It is not good for cost efficiency. Level 1 here, good range. It gets all the detections except lead, obviously. And damage-wise, it's okay. Still not worth it. I think Scout is still honestly more cost-efficient to use early on here. Upgrading this upgrade, this one's worth it. It increases the damage to 3. That's a 50% stronger Militant in a sense. Also, this guy's trying to, like, rush us out. Interesting strategies here. This Militant, this will greatly spike up our DPS. We're now dealing 40 DPS for a price of 6,800. Still not as good as Scout, like, cost efficiency wise. And max here, we are now dealing 100 DPS. And yet again, not as good as Scout. Now it is obviously a lot stronger, like 100 DPS. That is way more than Scout. But the cost efficiency, like, I paid a lot for this. And I'm just not getting that much out of it. Now, again, because of it being ultimately stronger in the late game, I'm gonna have to give it a B tier. Actually, no, honestly, I'm gonna bump it down. I'm gonna say it's C tier. I'm gonna put it even below Scout because Militant is this kind of tower that you want to use in the early to mid game. Like, there's just better late game options. So you'll get more out of Shotgunner in the early game. You'll get more out of Scout in the early game. But in the late game, you'll get more out of literally anything else that's meant for that. Like, Ace Pilot would do more than this. Minigunner would do more than that. I don't know about this. Now, this Max Freezer, the grenade is the one thing that's going for it because it freezes everything for a while. Again, the fact that you can send hazmats will mess with it, like, certainly, because these guys are just going to get right through. But let's see, can we get any max level shotgunners here? Max level does like 100 damage a shot, which is, I mean, that is some good value. Let's see what our enemy is doing. Yeah, I mean, of course he's going to be doing good. He has Mortar. But I honestly want to test him here in a bit. Now, let's max some more of these shotgunners. Max shotgunners are just able to squeeze out so much damage. Let's use the grenade ability here. Let's test our enemy here by sending out some bloated hidden bosses. So let's send out actually bloated slow bosses. Let's send out 3 bloated slow bosses. These have 3,000 HP, so these are going to pressure him, and while they're pressuring him, I'm just going to keep sending more eco. like 3,000 HP. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. That being said, we are honestly just like handling everything like it's nothing, because anything that gets in range of these shotgunners just gets destroyed. Look at these necromancers. This guy's trying to do a necromancer rush on us, and it's just not working. Now my bloated bosses are successfully pushing him back because they're bloated bosses, bro. Of course they're gonna do that. He might be in some hot water here. I feel like he's gonna get overrun. Shotgunner would not get overrun though. It would kill the bloated bosses right here. Now we still never even got around to Hunter, so let me get it down. Let's see what it's capable of. 20 damage. It's 10 DPS for that much. Not worth it. Not worth it. And I think the big issue is from the fact that this is just too slow firing for such a horde heavy game mode. I just don't see the use case. Now I think our opponent here is going to be desperate. Yeah, he is just going to lose like any second now, I think. Let me just get through some of the other Hunter upgrades. I mean, hidden detection for 650. Guess that makes it slightly better. Experienced. Okay, come on, man. Hunter. Okay, 100 damage. What is that DPS? I don't know, man. I'm gonna send this guy out some bloated brutes, because his struggle is with you know, single target damage. So I think these bloated brutes are just gonna like full on, I don't know, he's not gonna be able to deal with them. Okay, so yeah, let's do that, and then let's keep sending stuff. He's just 100% dead to all of this. As for me, I would honestly probably struggle with that too. Actually, I can freeze. No, never mind. You can't freeze him. Yeah, as these things make their way through the track, he has no single target. I guess he's Minigunner, but it's not going to do enough. Max level Hunter here does 225 damage, a shot for $28,000. Not worth it. Again, I just don't think this is that good of a tower. It has so much range for what? Like, you only really need to defend in one loop. It's still slightly better than Sniper, I think, but I mean, for the amount I paid, I'm just gonna have to give it a D tier. Honestly, I just don't see such a horde heavy mode being the place that you want to use a single target tower like that. There's nothing he can do about this, by the way. He is fully dead. Here comes the champion Templar, and we're gonna win in any second now. Let's send out an aggro brute just to like distract his stuff. Are you kidding me? There you go, aggro brute. Oh, come on. Fine, more aggro brutes then. Like if you don't want to die, then actually he's still probably gonna win, because my single target, like, what am I gonna do? Militant's not that good. Hunter is not that good. That being said, our champion Templar is lower than his is, so I think we're still gonna like win this situation. He has 100% defense. Okay, we have to do everything in our power to distract like all his stuff, so I'm gonna use an air horn here just to, you know, like get all his stuff to focus where he doesn't want it to focus. And the nice thing about our situation is that at least the normal enemies were like not leaking. Oh, and there is our win. So that obviously puts Shotgunner in A tier, extremely useful. Kind of falls off in the late game though. Freezer is gonna have to go in B tier. It's good with the grenade and if you use it well, but a lot of stuff just bypasses it. Actually, I'm gonna have to bump it down to C because of the amount of stuff like the brutes that bypass it. Militant's gonna have to go in B tier. Not as efficient as Scout, but you can get more out of it in the late game, so I guess it deserves some points for that. And then Hunter, honestly, it's just worse than Militant. Like, I'm gonna have to give it a C tier as well. So we can finally swap out every tower in our loadout. Our next one's gonna be Farm, Military Base, Pyro, and Rocketeer, before we move on to the advanced and hardcore towers, of course. Now, Military Base, as we saw from that one girl we were PvPing earlier, it's not that good of a starter tower. The DPS is just not consistent, and you'd end up leaking and losing. I guess we want to immediately start sending out enemies. Hopefully, our opponent is going to know how to do that as well. That's the nice thing about Pyro, is that it is literally designed for hordes and hordes only. So in the early game here, usually when you are sending enemies against each other, it is extremely worth the money. Like, all of these speedies are just gonna die, and if they don't, they're gonna come around and then they're gonna die. And I can basically just, without worrying, continue sending out stuff. Thankfully, our opponent does know how to send enemies, so we're actually gonna get a decent test here of how this does against, you know, a real PvP match where everyone's sending on each other. He's using Warden here, which is kind of struggling. Let's actually see if it ends up leaking. He paid $2,000 for that Warden, and it is doing what our Pyro is doing on its own. Anyways, with a lot of these slows, we're gonna have to upgrade our Pyro here. This is just because, you know, it gets pierce capped. So if we can kill off the enemies quicker, then, you know, that leaves less enemies for it to get capped by. And he's just kind of fully forced to invest. Now, the thing is, the Wardens do so much damage. Like, they just destroy all my slows. As for his slows, there they go. Let's see what our level 2 Pyro is able to do here. Well, I think that speaks for itself. That is honestly incredible. I paid $2,000 for that. And it's just like, no issues. It's soloing all of this. And the thing is, it even comes with hidden detection. So like that, it's got that covered for you. And I think at this point is when we want to get our military bases placed down. And I'm going to get all 5 of them at the same time. Military base stacking is useful. And I'm also going to start farming. Now the farm here makes a lot of, wait, no, never mind, it doesn't do, it's just literally a normal farm. $250, wow. So, immediate bottom of F tier. And I think this goes without saying, but the amount of money you make from eco, I'm making $600 every time this bar goes around. Do you understand how much substantially more money that makes me over the course of an entire game versus, you know, placing and farming? Because it's not like this farm makes, now what would be a really good mechanic is if this farm added to your eco, so that it was like a way to play the game without having to send enemies on your opponent to make money. That would be a cool mechanic, but no, it doesn't do that. It's just a regular old farm, and PvP only has 30 waves, so you don't even have as much time as you would in a normal game to make money. That being said, military bases here, they have 60 HP, so their level 0 is not that good, but level 2 here is going to have 100 HP per car, so that means these 5 cars are going to send out 500 HP, and the thing is, it's even faster. It's 25 seconds. That is so frequent. Let's also upgrade our pyro here, get even more burn damage here. I think we're gonna need it against these fast breakers. Let's see what happens against the breakers and the bosses. I mean, we just push it all back. That being said, it does get a little bit tough here, but we're gonna like break them all down, and then when the cars spawn out, they are hopefully gonna make a pretty big difference here. We also got mounted gunner. Does, wow, 20 DPS, and I paid how much? Dude, that is like, bro, that is, I think, better than Militant in terms of cost efficiency. And the thing is, it also comes with a whole extra 100 ram damage just on top of that. My goodness, military base, you are impressing me. Now let's get napalm thrower on my pyromancer. Hopefully that's going to be strong enough to fully break down breakers like completely. At this point the damage is ludicrous. And then there's also Rocketeer. Now Rocketeer's nerfed, but it's Rocketeer, so it's obviously not going to be bad. Anyways, let's farm. I can't believe I'm going to farm here. Like this is just a waste of money by all terms. Like you only have 4 tower slots to work with, and if one of them you're bringing a farm in and it's going to make you less money than just sending enemies on your opponent, like what's even the point of farming? I'm just gonna stay at level 2 because that's like the most efficient farm upgrade. Bosses here are a little bit problematic now because pyro can't do that much single target. This is like more of a single target issue, and hazmats are just a whole nother level because I'm pretty sure they're fire resistant. That being said, look at the DPS of this pyro. This is like almost 200 DPS for this much. Like that automatically, the cost efficiency on this pyromancer is not unlike any other tower. Like this is borderline S tier, honestly. And I think this might be our first S tier tower. We'll see though what it's able to do in the late game. Depending on how it does in the late game, we'll place it, because early game this is definitely S tier. Like it handles everything. And these hazmats aren't even no burn. Our military base squad is starting to get overrun though, so any second now I'm gonna have to get a tank. So let's do that. It's actually slightly cheaper, costing only 7.5k, and we get this ability here. Now this the ability, how much does it do? 450. Okay, that is really good defense. That's going to have a pretty significant impact. And on top of the 50 DPS that the tank has, this upgrade is just obviously insane. That being said, we want max pyro, but I don't want it there. I want it all the way at the very front. So I'm going to start working on it there. I'm actually going to sell the one over here, and I can't afford it. Also, we just completely annihilated a shadow boss. While our opponent here, he's getting pushed a little bit, but he's using Crook boss. And yeah, this is what makes Crook boss A tier, what I was talking about. It's the fact that you can actually stack them up in a game where the enemy sending is constant, in like a real match of PvP. Anyways, stuff's getting tough because I need max pyro here, and wow, this DPS is like over 200. Nice thing about pyro is that if it, you know, burns a single enemy once, then over the course of the track, it's going to deal like over 600 damage to that enemy. So it's basically, you can think of it as doing 600 damage to everything in its range. Yeah, I'm putting pyro in S tier. I gotta do it. First S tier. Let's go. With hopefully many more to come. This guy's trying a necromancer rush on us. I think we could drop a single military base bomb and yeah, like reduce all his work down to nothing. I'm also going to work on getting all of these up to tanks now. I think I've just got the last one. He's trying some hidden bosses on me, but it's just not working at all. They get instantly deleted. And my god, the Crook boss stack is looking huge. He has a whole army. How much? These are level 2 pistol goons dealing how much DPS? Like 30 DPS for that price? Crook boss is pretty good, yeah. It definitely is really good. But not as good as pyro. That being said, it's time for our Rocketeers, right? I mean, let's just get one here. Now Rocketeer at level 0, mid. It's a bit expensive for what it does, so I think I'm just gonna have to upgrade it here to level 1 and then straight to level 2. Level 2 is definitely like the prime upgrade of the early game. That's what you want to be getting. And it's going to do decent damage, but again, I didn't think that Rocketeer is really any good in the early game, I'll be honest. Like, it'll do good damage to the hordes for 3k. Actually, yeah, I take that back. Rocketeer, it would have been absolutely destroying, like, the rush of slows at the start. But mainly what makes Rocketeer good is its max level here. Quad targeting, massive range. You can set it on random. And basically now let's just, like, watch its damage. I mean, it's doing, like, 500 a shot. I don't think it needs to be said, like, whatsoever. This is an A tier tower. It's just not gonna have issues. Like, its single target isn't that bad, and its multi-target is just one of the best in the game. But because it's nerfed, it's not an S. I genuinely think it would have been like S tier in the last version. Also, I think our opponent is trying brutes on us, and you just saw what we did to that. You just saw the horrors that we unleashed on that brute. It got deleted. This is why you don't mess with Pyro, Rocketeer, and Military Base. I mean, I have 2 railgun tanks. We are spawn killing while this guy with advanced towers is struggling. Look at Pyro's damage, by the way. 20,000. How does Rocketeer... Rocketeer is almost caught up. 14,000, we just placed it down. It's because we kill everything so fast. The Pyro's burn time has like no chance to really properly like get the enemies down. I also now have 4 railgun tanks. And also let's consider farms here, because now they've actually made back quite a bit of money. Like, every round I'm gaining $2,000. That's still not worth it because it's using up a tower slot. Like, I could have had something good here, but no, I'm using a farm, which in 1 wave from now is going to become completely useless. Also, his Crook boss stack is incredible. Last max military base here, and I mean, 750 damage airstrikes if we need them. The cars themselves, they do 80 damage on explosive. The DPS is well over 100. Let's just see what we're able to do to the champion Templar here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to strategically space my Rocketeers out so that, you know, he can't really stun all of them at once. But I think it's pretty clear that this DPS is just, like, unfair. It is far more DPS than we've ever had, and the champion Templar is about to be dead at the front. His is still nearly full HP. This guy is barely going to make it around his first loop. He's not even going to make it around the first loop. His wardens also just get, like, all stunned completely. Wonder how he's going to kill that Templar. Ours is gone, though. So that's pretty nice. Also, has Rocketeer surpassed Pyro? It's about to. I know we paid a lot more for Rocketeer, but I mean, Rocketeer's just so good in the late game. Now I want him to send on me just so I can really see how much, like, this defense can really handle. But considering we killed the brute at the very front when he sent one on us, I don't think that he could really even do anything to us. And yeah, he just doesn't have enough single target because he invested too much into Warden. Wow, Warden, I mean, look at it. There's so much. They do a lot of damage. But then you could just, like, come over to my side and look how much easier I'm dealing with everything thanks to Rocketeers and military bases. Honestly, I think military base is the carry here. It does even more than Rocketeer. Actually, I would put them on about the same caliber. Here comes the second champion Templar. So, I mean, now with my evenly spaced Rocketeers, he can't really do that much. I don't even need good spots because it's like most of the time the Rocketeers will be shooting stuff, and there you go, we just win. So military base, if used correctly with stacking and on a good map, I think that puts it in A tier. Otherwise, I might have to put it in B tier just because it's a bit lackluster in the early game. But let's just stick with A tier. Rocketeer, easy A tier. It's not S because of the nerf, but I mean, it just like shreds all of the enemies in the late game. Pyro, I think it's got to be an S tier. It makes early game like brain dead. You don't need to do anything with your Pyro, and it holds up pretty good in the late game. Now we've only got Trapper, and we can start using some of these advanced towers. I think a good thing to be getting out of the way here is going to be Cowboy, Electroshocker, and then Gatling. So despite what I said earlier, I'm going to start off with Cowboy here. Now it's not that good, because again, the whole reason you're using Cowboy is to make money off of it. But enemies, if this guy sends enemies on me, are going to make me absolutely no money. So let's see if he does that. And surprisingly, he's not, but at least I can one-shot these abnormals, or normals rather. Yeah, I can one-shot those. And with this lucky shot upgrade, I would be able to one-shot speedies, but I technically get in more shots if I don't do that. That being said, it's absolutely necessary. If I start getting sent on, here he goes. And now watch this. All of these shots make me like nothing. That's why I have to put it in D tier, because I mean, this DPS, it's 6 DPS and I paid 1200. That is really bad cost efficiency. Scout is cheaper than this, and its DPS is like over 10. And I'm getting 6 for a more expensive price. Like, this is literally just a worse scout. Now, on the bright side, Trapper here. That's not Trapper, that's Electroshocker. Electroshocker is really good. We know that PvP is really horde heavy, and because the Electroshocker can hit so many enemies, I mean, basically every shot here, let's look at this upgrade. That's doing a lot. That's doing like 12 damage a shot, which means its DPS is like, I can't even calculate that, but its DPS is really good, and combined with the fact that it slows down the enemies, like, all those factors combined, I think it's an easy A tier. I feel pretty safe putting it there because it's just such a good tower for the kind of game mode PvP is. And I know in the higher arenas, there's some really fast enemies, and this thing will absolutely stop them. Now, what's stopping it from going into S tier is just that, I mean, you don't really, I don't know, I feel like there's better options. It does have a pierce limit after all, and there's just so many enemies later on that it will reach that limit. Now, let's get this $2,000 upgrade here. Now we're doing, I mean, every shot basically, what was that? How many? 4 enemies a hit? That means we could be doing up to 32 damage a shot. And that makes it, honestly, even more cost efficient than the scout. It also doesn't have hidden detection, so that's bad. So I'm going to get Trapper right now. I'm getting Trappers preemptively. Level 3 Trapper has been buffed to be the best level for Trapper, but I am not going to be able to afford that. So I'm just going to spam level 1 because that's a pretty safe option. That being said, it actually doesn't really matter that I don't have hidden detection because the chain damage of the Electroshocker is actually going to be able to hit him anyways. And because there's almost always going to be other enemies for you to deal with, then it basically has phantom hidden detection. Yet another positive reason for this thing to be in A tier. Now back to Trapper, the thing that makes it good in normal games is that usually there's a lot of time in between waves where it takes the mobs a lot of time to get to the end of the track, so that when they do, your spike pile is going to be built up. PvP is a lot more fast paced, so I don't really see that being useful, but this level 2 set to landmine, that cannot be underestimated because it is now effectively just like a demo man, but it causes fire on the enemies. Also, if Trapper successfully catches all of these leaks, then it will have a pretty good case for itself because, I mean, stuff like this is a problem, but oh my god, that actually had no issue like stopping it all. I am pretty happy with that. Cowboy is so dog, like, I'm not going to use it at all. But Gatling, there's an interesting conundrum with Gatling that I will get to. It is like the most expensive tower in the game, so you'd expect it to be like one of the best. So let's place it all the way over here. Here comes some speeding hiddens, but again, Trapper's got that covered. I don't like a Gatling here, so DPS is fine. I mean, it's like 30 something DPS. It's not the best, but again, when you enter first person, then you start piercing and the DPS just becomes one of the highest. But the conundrum here is that, you see, while I'm in my Gatling, while I'm getting the most out of it by being in first person, I am actively losing money because I cannot be sending enemies. I need to be constantly sending enemies if I want to be increasing my eco and making more money. And that puts Gatling in a really bad spot because I have to choose. Do I either kill the enemies or do I make money? So obviously Gatling being as strong as it is, I'm still gonna have to give it a high rank. Like, it's not weak by any means, but whereas it would normally, I think, be S tier for a situation like this, the eco thing is gonna have to bring it down. I'm gonna have to put it in, oh, it's a really hard decision. Do I put it in A or B? I think I have to put it in B because of just how important it is to be sending enemies. That being said, let's get some more Electroshockers here just because they basically are like the best value for DPS. And it still seems like I'm struggling, so I mean, traps are able to hold stuff back pretty well. Oh, but there you go, we're actually back to being fine. 300 damage a shot here, or 200. Some pretty solid stuff, and we're going to win. Now, from what I saw from Trapper, it's definitely viable. I mean, these bomb traps are going to be some pretty solid DPS, but Pyro is just better for that. And the catching leaks part, it's just not that useful. Like, if you burn the enemies at the start and do enough damage, then you will have no reason to need to catch leaks. The fast-paced gameplay just doesn't work for it, so I'm going to have to put it in B tier because it's still a useful tower. Electro's A. This guy is, I'm leveling him down, honestly, F tier. I said D tier earlier on, I'm putting it in F tier. Just the cost efficiency is dismal. And Gatling, it really depends on your ability to be able to manage going in and out of it. It would probably be A tier for a good player, but most times I would have to say it's a B tier tower. But the hat that it's rocking is beautiful and you should buy it because it's in the description. Now, I just ended up pausing my recording while showing off the Warden, Mortar, Commander, and Ranger, but because it takes like 5 minutes to get into a game, I'm just gonna go explain all of these towers. Warden was extremely good in the early game, like the level 0 could just destroy every one of the normals and speedies. The leveled up Wardens just made a joke out of the bosses and everything, so I think I'm gonna honestly have to give it it an S tier. And by the way, I did win. Like, I'm not even joking. With a good loadout early game, it's just absolutely turned into nothing. We're not even that good of a map. Like, this map has no loops or anything. Mortar is gonna have to join it in S tier. It's just the best crowd control. When you set it to random, it just cooks everything alive. Commander, also S tier. Like, this is a triple S tier so far setup, but only if you have the right loadout for it. In some cases, it might be A tier, but 50% fire rate buff on everything you have, it's obviously gonna be like one of the best in the game. It needs no introduction. Ranger here, I didn't have a chance to use, but next game. At this point, being able to get into a casual match for some reason became impossible. Maybe it's the fact that I was on a 13 win streak. So it seems like the rest of these towers are gonna have to be played out in ranked mode. And we have to ban towers, so this is what I was worried about. I can ban virtually anything else that I've already used and that I'm not gonna be testing. So let's immediately ban the good towers. He's gonna ban Minigunner and Pursuit. It was kind of sad because I wanted to use Minigunner, but what we're going to have to work with here is going to be Brawlers, so we're actually going all the way to Hardcore, Ranger, Turret, and DJ. Now he's putting us on a map that I don't really want to play on. I want to play on this. So let's see, is he going to change his vote? Or, I mean, it's fine, I guess. Oh, nice, we got this map. So that automatically makes my Brawler significantly better. So let's get it right here. It's actually kind of good to place your towers a little bit further back because that's going to end up buying you more time to send enemies, buy you more time to make more money. And yeah, this is going to be an expensive late game now because he just killed everything at the very front with the help of a Crook boss. That means we actually end up getting less time to send enemies here. That being said, Brawler is really good here in the early game. A little bit worse than Warden, but it is considerably cheaper, so that's an upside. And yeah, I'm gonna have to make every last dollar here. Now, after I get this eco, I'm gonna cancel these two normals because they're slow, and I'm just gonna switch to just sending speedies. I'm also immediately gonna get a second Brawler because, as you can see, I'm starting to struggle a little bit, so it's warranted. But now, I mean, we're back to being able to deal with this no problem. The slows are gonna be a little bit of an issue, but the secret about slows is you don't actually want to send slows because you make less eco than just sending speedies. Unless you want to pressure your enemy, which I'm not going to do. I don't really think it's going to pressure him because Crook boss, I mean, it's just going to keep getting more and more stacked. So it's just not really worth baiting my attention there. So another Brawler here. With this, it should be, you know, now we can full defend anything. And I also think it is more efficient to just like straight up place down more Brawlers rather than upgrading them. So here are my level 0 Brawlers, which have like no issue with anything. Now here he goes with a giant rush of slows, and we've also got a boss to deal with. Honestly, I'm pretty confident that what we have right now is going to be mostly enough to deal with this stuff. Look at that. We brought down the boss to just 80 HP. Now hiddens though, that's not something I can deal with. Let me actually cancel all my stuff and send out a rush of hiddens before starting to upgrade my Brawlers. Upgraded Brawlers are obviously, you know, not gonna have any trouble with hiddens. So there you go. I got some level 2 Brawlers. This should be enough. Wait, level 2 doesn't get hidden detection. Am I dead? Hold on. I'm gonna lose. Bro, oh my god, I swear level 2 got hidden detection. Oh my god. No, F tier, bro. Brawler, F tier, bro. Why would you use Brawler of hidden detection? Oh my god. I'm obviously gonna run that back, and no, Brawler is not F tier. Just angry because I could have sworn that the hidden detection comes on level 2. Maybe it did come at level 2 and then they just changed it. Anyways, there we go. We got our Brawler now. Level 3, 20 damage. I'm gonna rush him with hiddens, and he's using Cowboy, which is like, yeah, F tier, so he's gonna lose. The level 3 Brawler here is incredibly strong. It just like single-handedly solos that boss. Final hit damage. I don't know exactly how much it is on this thing, but it is a lot. And there you go. There's our game-winning whatever, everything. Can a single level 3 Brawler hold back hiddens? Honestly, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think if you're getting hidden sent on you, then you need more. But yeah, this is ranked mode, and this guy doesn't know how to play it. Okay. Bosses are no issue, though. Yeah, they just get held back. Here comes this. Uh-oh, wait, this could actually be difficult, so let me upgrade my Brawlers. So this is actually difficult, and especially if he was sending, this would be really bad for me. But because we have a loop map that automatically just makes a Brawler an even better tower to use. Now, here we go. Guaranteed victory in 3, 2, 1. Never mind, he's not gonna lose. Great. He's got to be dead any moment now. Come on. This has got to be it right here. Look at all of these breakers. Fine. Let's make it painless. Let's go. Energy drink. Look at him making absolutely no money off of all these bosses that I'm sending on him. Can I send out any more? Okay, no. He's getting overrun. I would be getting overrun right now, honestly, if he was sending on me, but I'm not, so let me just get level 4 brawler. I think that's the most efficient upgrade. I don't know how he's still hanging on. Actually, him hanging on right now is probably a good reason for me to bump Cowboy up from F back to D, because clearly, I mean, he's staying alive. Like, if he was sending on me and had more money, he would, like, certainly be alive. But right now, he's, like, barely alive. He has no crowd control. Bro, this guy is, like, hanging on by a thread here. Let's give him a bunch of these. Accelerator is carrying him. Okay, but these hazmats are definitely going to be too much. I mean, 150 HP. Oh, here comes a boss, which we almost single-handedly kill with our brawlers. I'm gonna send him some bloated hazmats just because I don't know, man. Where's his giant boss at? It's over here. It's got 1600 HP. And I can get our first max brawler. Dude, I don't even get to properly test the tower, bro. This guy's yapping in the chat instead of, like, you know, like sending enemies. But I think it's pretty safe to give brawler a rating here already. I'm gonna have to give it A. It's not quite as good as Warden, unfortunately. Like, it does more damage, but you don't need more damage because you need more brawlers. And Warden just has a much higher placement limit. And this is all I even got to use because my other towers, they were pointless because this guy doesn't know how to send enemies. And now we only make one change, and that's replacing brawler with engineer. And actually, I'm gonna replace turret with minigunner for this one. And we have just enough money to get our engineer down right away. Now, engineer is going to be able to one-shot all of the normals here. With just one upgrade, it will also be able to one-shot the speedies. That being said, though, here's what we're able to do to the enemies in the early game. I mean, this is obviously pretty insane. It just doesn't let the enemies do anything. 700 bucks is pretty worth it, but our guy over here is using shotgunners, which are actually doing better, and I think he paid like a similar amount. It's pretty similar, so engineer is actually kind of getting pushed back. This will all change as soon as we get level 2, though. Level 2 is pretty cost efficient. Now, I'd love to not die before I can get it. There we go. We got it. Now we can get 2 sentries, and that should make pretty quick work of some of these enemies. Now, even though I said you make more eco-sending speedies, I do want to see... It is still more like you spend less money on eco if you get slows, but yeah, actually, yeah, I'm just gonna send speedies. We're starting to struggle. I do want auto converter, so I guess back to sending slows it is. Look at the amount of stuff there is. Like, it's a little bit of a problem for me. I just need one more set of income here, and I'll be able to afford auto converter, and that is going to be a really big difference maker because the rifle sentry here, I mean, it's just a lot better. It has 10 DPS. Is that more? It's slightly less than the engineer itself, but 2 of them, they kind of just like, we have over 30 DPS and we spent only 3k on this. So yeah, I think that is extremely cost efficient. He's already saying GG's because he doesn't realize that these things are insane, but hidden detection might be an issue. So I mean, do the sentries ever get him? I don't know. I think hiddens will actually be a problem, so we'll get down minigunner, which doesn't even need to be a high level. Now I should start setting hidden soon. Let's see, how long is it going to take me to afford hidden detection? 2 more sets of eco. Also, minigunner is pretty dang strong, 4 damage a shot. It's not doing bad. I need my money here though, so come on, give me my money, give me my money. There you go. I got the one that has hidden detection. So if this can't handle hiddens, I'll be extremely disappointed. By the looks of it, we are able to, just barely. He, on the other hand, is having absolutely no issues because he's using shotgunner and electroshocker. Both of those are A tier, but we do have better single target to DPS. That's the one thing that we have going for us. Although I might just straight up be dead here as well. Okay, I'm not straight up dead. I actually got a second rifle sentry. That's gonna add a lot of DPS to my setup here. His side though is yeah, it's doing it. He's not having any issues. Honestly, this is not an issue with any of my towers. It's an issue with my loadout. It's the fact that I don't have any splash damage. But the reason for that is because, I mean, what could I bring? What would be my splash damage? I've already tested basically every good splash damage tower, so, you know, I'm just forced to test what I haven't tested yet. That being said, I think it's going to be a shadow boss soon, so I'm probably going to get a DJ. Let's get DJ right here at level 3, set it to green track. It's going to make me money, which is pretty nice. And now I need to start working on getting more defense. So I'm going to start sending out slows just so we have like a passive amount of eco that we're gaining, but we're still, you know, increasing the amount of defense that we're working with here. Also need to not forget to continuously use our DJ ability. So it's looking fine so far. Actually, it's really not, bro. Single target is so bad. Minigunner might be a bad deal. I mean, how much am I paying for it? Like, it's DPS. It has like 30 something DPS, but it costs a lot. I honestly don't know about this, dude. It's looking pretty bad. I think I'm gonna lose. Yeah, so minigunner, I'm gonna have to put it in B tier, just because even though it has pretty good single target, it just doesn't really matter for PvP that much. I mean, crowd control is more important. Engineer slightly better. I think I'm gonna give it an A. The reason I say this is because it's good all game round. Like in the late game, Engineer would have been really nice, but it doesn't really get you covered in the early game. And as for DJ, I honestly think that it's probably B. Like, it's a really useful support tower. In 2v2s, this would probably be up there, like A or S. But here, the discounts, I mean, you just never end up really getting that many towers. You don't have as much money as you do in a regular game. So therefore, DJ doesn't end up saving you as much money as it otherwise normally would. Also, you can't spam a lot of towers, so the money ability doesn't even make that much money. Alright, so because I'm literally out of any good early game towers, I'm back to using Warden. So this is what I'm doing now. Hopefully our guy starts sending here. He's using Brawler, which is also good, A tier, but yeah, doesn't stand up to S tier Warden. And this just goes to reinforce that, yes, it is S tier. Because, I mean, it's a single Warden, and I don't need to even do anything else. Now, of course, when there's more of these, I have to do something. And okay, I think it's time we stop messing around and move on to the S tier of S tier towers. Actually, that's a lie. This is not the S tier of S tiers, but Necromancer needs no introduction. If you know how this tower works whatsoever, you'll know that as soon as I summon out these graves, anything on the path is done for. This is 120 HP worth of skeletons. And you know why that's so OP? Think back to Military Base. To get 100 damage out of it, you need to spend like, what was it, like $1,000, I think? Here you're spending 1,000. You're getting this piercing, like huge range attack. And you get, at any time you want, not just 100 damage like the Military Base. Okay, but now I guess I've upgraded and spent 3k on it. But before, you get 120 damage at will. Like, that's enough to kill a normal boss. And these don't even get me started on the sword skeletons. 20 damage. You realize Warden doesn't even do 20 damage at level 2. It doesn't do that at level 2, and you get these skeletons basically just a impenetrable wall. And just like nothing can pass it. And if I upgrade, and I could just get more. If I get 3 and... Wait, okay, let me get a third one right here. Let me just send out these skeletons real quick. Let me send these out. These skeletons, they have over 20 DPS. If they stack up, if you stack up 20 DPS all in one spot with like, I don't know, like, what is that? 10 skeletons maybe? That's 200 DPS in this one corner. That is physically impossible for most enemies to get past. And by the time you reach enemies that can get past it, you can upgrade the Necromancer, and then, you know the deal. Nothing gets through. It's just that. It's just that. Big boss coming around. Necromancers, just spawn some of these out. We got 600 HP skeleton. Yeah, like, dude, it's just not fair. The only thing about it is, like, the main attack is a little weak, but that literally doesn't matter. On some maps, you can get really good placements that shoot in a straight line and just get an even stronger main attack, as if the skeletons weren't enough. Anyways, now we got Rangers in Pursuit. I don't think there's really much, and we win. I guess that's a S tier for Necromancer. Unsurprisingly, there goes Necromancer being banned. And I don't even get to use Pursuit. But anyways, Mercenary Base. And what here haven't we done yet? Turret. Anyways, I'm going to start the early game here by doing an interesting strategy. I'm going to stall. I'm not going to place anything down to buy myself more time to get an economy bonus here. And only now will I place something down so that we get to actually kill everything. It probably doesn't matter that much, but you know, I get a little bit of extra money, and because of my loadout, so many expensive towers, I'm going to need everything that I can get. Anyways, 2 Wardens here is more than enough to get me through the early game. At least this guy's sending, so he understands that, you know, sending equals more money. But he needs to keep sending. Come on, man, please. I don't want the same situation where I just don't get to use my towers. I think PvP mode needs like a tutorial, because I guess it's never really made clear that you should be sending enemies, but then again, like, I don't get why you would play ranked then. Anyways, time to get all these hidden detection wardens, because it's time to send out some hiddens. It should technically be absolutely no issue. I mean, yeah, oh my god, this guy's even more wardens than I do, and they're all upgraded to level 1 as well. Yes. It's just, yeah, warden is a pretty, I think it's pretty established to be probably like the best early game tower. Your other options is, I mean, you know, you saw the list. Anyways, is it finally time? I think it's finally time. Let's get a Mercenary Base all the way at the very back and upgrade it immediately. I'm going to set it to the Grenadiers. That way we get, you know, some splash damage in here, because that's the one thing that Warden does struggle with. That being said, I think I should be sending normal bosses, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, no, let me start doing that. And now that we got our Grenadiers, I think you can start seeing what I meant when I said Necromancer wasn't the S tier of S tiers. It's this. Mercenary Base on a mode that has a non-stop flow of enemies will be able to stack up, you know, the entire track, or at least all the space it can possibly stack up with Grenadiers or whatever. I think Grenadiers are the best because of this mode being so crowd control heavy. But you allow just like an infinite amount of them to stack up on top of course, the damage buff that you get for all your other towers. And in the end, I mean, it is just like undoubtedly probably the best tower for PvP right now. Most games are really easily defendable in the early game if you're using something like Warden. You know, Shotgunner does the job. Even frickin' Scout can do the job. So if you just defend the early game, then all that you need to be concerned about is your late game DPS. And what beats a tower that can infinitely just keep stacking its DPS up? Like, what can beat that? Nothing. So that's why Mercenary Base is downright in just like its own tier. I mean, it is S tier. It's probably not so much better than the rest of the S tiers that it deserves like an S tier. But yeah, I mean, with just what I have now, we're already dealing like hundreds of splash DPS, and this is never gonna stop. I mean, it will stop when we get to the Champion Templar and he kills all of the units, but that's not soon. The one issue though is the hidden boss, but thankfully Warden is just like, it's gonna cook that up. Now let's see what our enemy is doing here. He's using Ace Pilots, really solid option. Warden, Electro. This loadout isn't as late game oriented as mine. That being said, let's get down a turret. Now I think I want turret right by this cliff, and looking at it right now, this DPS is actually really good. Like, it's nearly 30 DPS and you're paying not even that much for it. I mean, 4K, you get a really good range. It's not bad. This upgrade gives it hidden detection. I mean, I feel like it's probably not that worth it because hidden detection, like at this point in the game, you'll probably, if you've lived this long, you'll definitely already have some form of hidden detection. But yeah, let's get the upgrade here because this next one is a really good upgrade. 15 damage, lead detection doesn't really matter, but I mean bonus damage, I'll always take it. And upgrade after that doubles the fire rate, increases range. It doesn't look like any of these upgrades are more cost efficient than the level 0, but they do get more range and whatnot, so you're still getting more out of the turret. So yeah, here it's doing some fantastic damage. I'm gonna get a Mercenary Base back here. It's not as good of a spot as all the way at the back of the map, but it'll provide a damage buff for all my Wardens and turrets, which I'll be getting here, and Rangers, because I have that too. And speaking of, let's get our first one down. So I don't know, has it been changed to fire faster? I think it has. 44 damage, not a bad tower. I mean, everybody just knows Ranger. It's Ranger. But the question is, how good is it for PvP in particular? And what Ranger is really good for is, now that question's a little hard to answer because what it's good for is bosses. Obviously, that's what it's designed to kill. It's not going to be bad against normal enemies, but like bosses is really where it's all at. Let's see if our opponent's surviving. Oh my god, he's doing good. This is the first guy that actually has like a lot of money because he's been sending. Anyways, let's see. Mercenary Base damage. Like, what is that? That's insane. 42,000 damage dealt. I think you probably already understand why it's as good as it is. And not to mention, we also get the airdrop ability if we need it. Just, you know, in case you need some more troops, because this isn't enough. I'm gonna max this Mercenary Base back here and drop the Grenadiers just so we start building an even bigger stack. And I'm gonna want you to start paying attention to our DPS here. And like, maybe, I don't know. I know Champion Templar soon though, which is gonna require a few Rangers, I'm gonna probably assume. Let me get all of them placed down. The nice thing about Rangers, the maps aren't big, so you're basically guaranteed full map range with your Rangers. And now just some turrets. I want them spaced out so that, you know, if one gets stunned, the others are attacking. Let's get a turret here. That's really the biggest issue with Champion Templars, that it stuns, like, they're annoying. And yeah, let's go see who does better against the boss now. And also, let's see if we can see the DPS on this thing. Yeah, it's like monumental. Now, the worst part is when the troops die, because they actually do die pretty easily. That's the thing. You have to use field medics. That being said, though, as you can tell, the damage is ludicrous. We've dealt 13,000 in the front. He's done 20,000. Actually, that's how low we got the boss. But he's gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill it. Neither of us are gonna have issues. And this is how most PvP games are actually supposed to be. Any rank higher than the starter ranks, your PvP games, both players are gonna survive the early game because there's not really a concern with that. Both players are gonna make it to the late game, and then it just becomes a battle of who has the stronger late game towers. And because the enemies are gonna continuously get stronger, and you know, they're still gonna stay in a horde most of the times, the brawler, the warden plus Mercenary Base splash damage combo is just going to be unstoppable, especially on a map like this. Most of these maps are really good for units because they loop around or they have really good bends, and I have a feeling that this PvP match is going to go on for a long while. But yeah, let's keep an eye out on this. I mean, 153,000 damage dealt. That's got to be more than all of my Rangers combined, even though I spent a lot more on them. Actually, not a lot more. I spent I think I actually spent more on the Mercenary Base, but still, the Mercenary Base has over twice as much damage, even though I clearly didn't spend twice as much on it as I did on my Rangers. That being said, I'm still gonna have to put Ranger at A tier. It's just Ranger. Obviously, it's good. It won't get stunned. It'll be a really, you know, comfortable way for you to kill the Champion Templar every time. Also, not all of these are Grenadiers, so yeah, let me change that, and let's actually drop some airstrikes here. It's gonna be pretty good DPS. Now I'm lagging so bad, but yeah, we're dealing like well over 1,000 DPS, which makes the cost efficiency of the Mercenary Base like better than Brawler. And if one thing you should know about Brawler is it's designed to have like the highest one. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if our teammate is doing just as good. Yeah, he really is. Holy crap, the lag. Jeez. I just don't even have enough Mercenary Bases, which is the funny thing. Like, look at this, 260,000 damage. What is even that? None of my max Rangers or anything, my Wardens don't even have that much. Like, combined, I'm talking about. A single Mercenary Base is just that good. Now the enemies are starting to have a lot of HP, though. All of these are coming out with, like, thousands of HP. So this is where, yep, believe it or not, even more damage is going to go to the Mercenary Base. Okay, can we not lag? By the way, I've been recording this video for hours, and if you're still here, then that probably means that it's not a bad video. Again, I wanted to be able to play with fans, so please join the Discord. I even asked in the Discord and nobody responded, so I'm sad, but everything will be in the description. So yeah, that's all I really have to say before, you know, I guess we'll eventually win this PvP because we just have the meta towers, and we might not even win if I just keep lagging like if I just crash, then you know, we crash. I can't even do anything to him really. Okay, I can't even do anything to him really. Now let me upgrade turret here. Turret. It's a good tower, and so I think I'll preemptively do the rankings right now. Turret's going in A tier. It's just solid. It's just like, oh my god, a better minigunner. Has more range, takes up less of your placement limit. Now our enemy is actually sending out like a non-stop spam of brutes, but despite that, I still think it's going to be no issue because of this stack of Grenadiers, which just like the Necromancer skeletons, is building an impenetrable fortress here. So through the lag, we're going to sit here and we're going to win. And the thing is, we're not even done. Like, this whole loop isn't filled with Grenadiers. Let's see how he's currently doing. Oh, yeah, he's struggling now because he doesn't have the S tier of S tiers for PvP. Can my screen chill out, bro? I cannot see anything behind all of these brutes. And there you go, an inevitable win. And this guy deserves a congratulations. He was the first one to make it a late game like this. Very solid player. And for the grand finale, we have Pursuit, Accelerator, and Hacker. The Hacker is the most expensive tower. Pursuit is, well, it's Pursuit. Accelerator is the strongest DPS, at least for single target. I guess you can still get more technically out of like some towers like Mercenary Base. But let's hope our buddy here, oh, he's a scout user. That's pretty exciting. Never mind, he's using Cowboy. Come on, buddy, you got this. No, don't use Cowboy. It's D tier. I had to bump it up because because that one guy that was lucky surviving with it. So anyways, I'm not to keep you waiting. I'll see you when it's time to get one of these new towers. And our first tower here is going to be the Hacker. Now the Hacker, it's able to convert enemies that die within its range, which, you know, could be decent if we convert some pretty big enemy like this normal boss here. And we actually got it. Never mind, it's not that good. 24 HP. Hacker, I think it's not going to be that great because mainly you want the wire fraud, which comes at this level. Wire fraud is really helpful because it makes more money from the enemies in range. But I mean, again, most enemies are going to be sent to you by your enemy, which obviously you don't make much money off of. Now there's also the slowdown effect. I guess that's fine. You might want to play by setting this thing on strongest. Let me actually upgrade it and set it on strongest. That way we'll actually be getting in some pretty good damage and slowing down the normal bosses inside of the range of the wardens. Now let's look at our opponent here. How's he holding up? I think he's in trouble, but he does have Mercenary Base. Okay, that is a really good tower, but he kind of panic placed it. It's not really, he's not giving it the best of circumstances. Well, let's see here. This next one unlocks Tower Hologram, which I guess is actually really good. Now that I think about it, if you combine Hacker with something like Mercenary Base, because we already know Mercenary Base is super strong, that should automatically tell you that if you use it and, you know, clone one, actually clone multiple, I think you can get up to 4 clones, you can have a whole lot more troops on the track, which is going to obviously help squeeze out a ton of extra damage. Now, that being said, I think our teammate's going to lose here because obviously he didn't send. He doesn't have the money to defend against the stuff, which is again why I think we need a tutorial for PvP. Oh, also, we're gonna leak here if I don't get something, so let me get down an Accelerator level 2, and now nothing's really gonna be leaking. Speaking of Accelerator, we win the game. Okay, all right, we are now back to finally get to see the Accelerator and Pursuit properly in action. As for Hacker, I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. It has some really strong synergies, but it's just lacking quite a bit in the early game. The money made is just kind of insignificant compared to the amount that you make from eco. And that I would say is really the only issue now. Accelerator, I think we all know what the deal is with Accelerator. I'm already going to preemptively put it in S tier just because that's where I think it's going to end up. But you know, we'll play on and see whether it lives up to how good it was after the buff. Also, our opponent is good this time around. He knows how to send enemies. So we're going to really push this to the late game and get to see the potential power of our towers. Now I'm going to refrain from maxing out Mercenary Base. Or not maxing, but at least like heavily sinking all my money into it just because we obviously know Mercenary Base is good. I want to see what Accelerators and Pursuits are capable. Now here comes our first max level Accelerator. 1000 DPS, overcharge at 2400. This should absolutely shred the Champion Templar. That's going to be my goal. Get as many of these as possible because that's where they're really going to shine. That being said, I also want to get a Pursuit, and you know what I think? Honestly, I feel like Bottom Path Pursuit is going to be the better option because Top Path Pursuit, yes, it's good, it's single target, it's strong, but again, the hordes are really where most of the difficulty is at. So if we can, you know, do as much crowd control, which is what Bottom Path Pursuit is meant for, then that should make things pretty much like no problem at all. Now setting this Pursuit on random, I believe, is going to be the best deal, so I'm going to get working on that. I also want some wardens along the track like so. This is just going to be mainly to bait out the Templar. I can actually only place one. Maybe I can move this one because I want the Templar to be stunning my wardens because, you know, they have some level of stun immunity. Not my accelerators. Those are just vulnerable. Anyways, crazy mercenary stacks on this side. Crazy high DPS from accelerators on this side. Let's see who prevails. I've been recording this video for nearly 4 hours. And so I think you know what I'm about to ask. Please save me. Please. I need a like and subscribe, bro. Here comes Champion Templar. Ours is at 12k HP. His is nearly dead, but I mean, that's obvious because of Mercenary Base. Pursuit, on the other hand, however, is doing some crazy work. When the missiles shoot out, like, just pay attention to that damage. It goes up by like 1,000. And this Champion Templar is dead. Mine's still alive. Also, I didn't realize that military bases are literally pretty much constant because they spawn really fast. So he just has like a consistent, like, I don't know, train of military bases going around. He's also using Rocketeers. I genuinely think his loadout is just better than mine because he just has more crowd control. I feel like Rocketeer might genuinely outperform Accelerator. That being said, let's get some more Pursuits here. Bottom Path, obviously. I also should probably upgrade these Wardens just so that we get some level of enemy stunning. That way we squeeze out even more DPS with our helis. And here this guy comes the second time around, and he just targeted my accelerators. Let's see what the deal is this time. Oh, we're actually killing him faster than the other guy is. Wow. So what's the deal? I don't know exactly. Maybe it was the wardens. Like, he just entered the range of the wardens and got kind of cooked by them. Because now he's probably going to get ahead. Yeah, now he's pulling ahead. Now let's upgrade this mercenary base to max level. Now our pursuit is going to do even more damage. Our accelerators, kinda, because the overcharge is going to be faster now, but it's whatever. And I think I'm going to work on getting up to 7k eco here, and then I'm going to stop because, like, what's the point of going beyond? I think we'll have enough money for everything. Holy crap, it's loud. Look at the amount of mercenaries, like, he got stacked up here. That is wild, but I can't have any. I need to get more pursuits. I'm setting all of my bottom path pursuits on random. I'm obviously going to get a couple of top paths here in a bit, but that way, you know, we just get more damage out of that. And now I'm going to work on a max top path just so that we get in some DPS for the Champion Templar. Now the lag is getting serious. He probably already killed his, right? Oh wait, never mind. We're actually doing a lot better. Why? I don't know why I'm doing so much better. I guess maybe it's my wardens. Like, the wardens do get a lot done in this one, like, intersection. That being said, I think I can go for a max level pursuit here. If I can click it, please let me get it. There you go. We got max level, and that is going to help out quite a lot against the Templar here. We also got 7,000 eco, so I'm going to stop sending now, and we can purely work on getting accelerators. Oh my god, I love playing on 2 FPS. My computer costs $5,000, by the way. And this is how I'm playing right now. It is unbelievable to me how poorly optimized this game is. And if I'm lagging this much on a good computer, I feel so sorry for anybody who's playing on a phone. Like, on mobile, you know, the funny thing is, I'll tell you a story. Back when I was in middle school, you know, 2019, when TDS was still brand new, I remember playing it on phone, and after some games, I would have to put the phone in the freezer. Like, that's how hot the phone would get just from the lag. And that was on 2019 Dookie graphics. I can only imagine how hot your phone must get. Like, it must probably get hot enough to, like, cook a steak or something. Like Oh my god. I think we've reached the point where upgrading mercenary bases is just necessary. There's just so many hordes that if I don't get mercenary bases, I won't be able to keep up with them. The boss, stuff like this slow boss now have 16,000 HP. Yeah, this is basically becoming like polluted wastelands at this point. This guy's a really good stack going, so he could win. We're pretty neck and neck though on our champion Templar damage. But here you go. Now that our accelerators are focusing on it, we are like tearing it down. All right, he's reached DPS central. This is where he gets fully shredded. All right, there we go. Did our enemy kill it? Yeah, pretty much at the same time. Wow, we're neck and neck. Now I'm gonna drop down a few of these grenadiers here. I just need some max ones to start, like, you know, filling up the space, getting in as much shots as possible. I'm horrendously laggy, dude. It is not fun. It is time for me to try and get another max level pursuit. Okay, here we go. He wiped out a bunch of like riflemen that I don't need, so let me drop new grenadiers in this area. And he's immediately gunning them all down. Oh, that's not good. I do kind of want him to gun down the ones over there because like a lot of them are low level, but no, he's gunning down my accelerators instead. Like, what a guy. Things are starting to not look good whatsoever. His side is still doing fine because he has good grenadiers unlike mine, and also he just has more crowd control because of you know, Rocketeer, military base. I think he has the better loadout. I'm gonna move all my pursuits like towards the middle. Can I please get the ability to do that? Anyways, let's try and do a damage check here of everything. So let's see, our pursuit over here is dealt 400k. How does that compare to mercenary base? It's dealt 190 and couldn't even check accelerator. So seeing how that did, I'm gonna have to put accelerator in S tier. I mean, if you have hordes covered, it's just like the ultimate single target. So seeing how all that did, I'm gonna have to put pursuit in S tier. I mean, unstunnable, really good late game splash DPS, and has an amazing single target option, while accelerator, even though I thought it was gonna be in S tier, it's pretty vulnerable to stuns, and also single target just isn't as important as the crowd control that pursuit provides. So this one is going in A tier. Jeez, this video took way too long. Please like, subscribe, and join the Discord server and become a channel member. I really want to play with channel members.